Alright, I'm back. I have more clarity on the collection now. I'm doing it on in Notion, so it's a little cleaner. Um, and basically I just have a few things to do, so this shouldn't be like a half an hour. It should be like 15 minutes. In the background, it is 4th of July. And in Las Vegas, it is totally legal to buy fireworks. And not like sparklers, like legit, real fireworks. And so a lot of people do. And so you will be hearing lots of fireworks I will be hearing them for the next probably 12 hours. And to be fair, they started at around 4 o'clock p.m. this afternoon, before it was even dark outside. So, that is the noise. It's the 4th of July. And that's how some people celebrate. Okay, so I am now in Notion, and everything is way more clear. And I just really need to have captions for the things. So now, this is Notion. The collection is now called Nostalgia and Nibbles, Revisiting Childhood Through Food, which is much nicer and maybe a little more joyous. This collection honors my inner 8 year old self and how I revisit that part of myself through food. The collection starts with a hypothetical day of my 8 year old self. The remaining exhibits provide ways, as an adult, I attempt to reclaim some of the mystical joy I experienced as a child. I decided to add Ode to Joy as a background as people peruse the space. It's appropriate because it could symbolize my serious approach to this task, and then surrendering to the joyous simplicity of the main theme. And I added the fun fact that I probably was around 8 when I first learned to play Ode to Joy on the violin, because it's like one of the simple songs that they teach you at the beginning of learning orchestra. And so, oh my gosh, the patience of grown folks that work with children. Um, I think I probably started playing in orchestras around 8 or 9, maybe even before. Definitely 9. I know I was in the school orchestra in 9. I think I was playing in an orchestra, a community orchestra, when I was 8. Um, and so, yeah, because Ode to Joy is so simple, it's just like, it's super simple and there's no complex rhythm. It's one of the first things they teach you. So I think I'm gonna play it just for a little bit as I think through. So this is how the exhibit stands now. You put on Ode to Joy. Hopefully it's not too loud. I'm gonna turn it down. So you can have this in the background. And this is, I won't have any copyright issues because I got this from Envato. This is my inner child's plan for the day. This was one of the artifacts I submitted earlier, so I threw that in there. If you want to know about my inner child's plan for the day, that's in the last video I did. I'm not going to go through it again because I talked about it in the last one. So here is my response. So that was one of the artifacts I had. And then I just have listed the other artifacts. So now I just need to write the captions that evoke joy and explain how they're connected to the theme of um, revisiting joy as an adult. So for butterscotch pudding, it's easy, but let me go back. So for each of the artifacts, I had to write a couple things. And so let me go back to, this view is not so helpful. Okay. Okay, so let me start with, yeah. So the butterscotch pudding was part of the deep dive week. And what my question was is, can you make butterscotch pudding vegan and no sugar? Um, and so I think I'll write in an attempt to reclaim the joy held within a Jello pudding pop. Oh, pudding cup. So I came from a generation that had pudding pops. Like that was a whole, oh my gosh, that was a whole thing. And then of course, Cosby is the face of the Jello pudding pop. Um, as an adult, I would like to recreate this confection as a vegan, non-sugar experience. Pretentious? Possibly. I don't know how to spell, so I hope that's not a surprise to anyone. Pretentious. Possibly. Possibly does not have a T in it. Where'd it go? Possibly. Potentially delicious. Definitely. So, definitely. Okay, so when I did the research on butterscotch, I didn't know what butterscotch really was. But it's really kind of a flavor. It's a type of confection that's main ingredients are brown sugar and butter, which is basically the antithesis. Not basically, it is the antithesis of vegan and non-sugar. How do you make butterscotch without sugar and without without like animal products when the main flavor comes from both of those things? I didn't realize when I picked that question, but clearly, yeah, it makes it a challenge. And then butterscotch is similar to toffee, which I guess makes sense, but I don't think toffee tastes the same as butterscotch for me. Um, and I thought scotch, I talked about this in the last one, I thought scotch meant that it had alcohol in it, and it doesn't. Scotch has to do with cutting or scoring the candies, because butterscotch used to be kind of like toffee, and you had to like cut it. So yeah, so that one's a hard one. And when I did my deep dive, so when you have been on a vegan journey, and I'm using quotations, for a while, you know how creative this stuff can get, and you also know how insanely disappointing it can be. But, honestly, if you're vegan for a while, your taste buds change, so things can, taste differently than you remember them. But it did take me aback. There is a recipe that uses kombucha, squash, nut butter, and lucuma, and it says it tastes just like butterscotch. And I'm really, my brain is struggling with that one. And so I'm not believing that. Um, I'm not believing that at all. But I would like to try it at some point. And yeah, that recipe has 3 out of 6 stars, so probably not. There was another recipe that was vegan but not sugar free, which that's usually okay to get around, but it has whiskey in it, so maybe. And then the only one that looked like it might work has boiled dates, which dates will give you kind of that caramely taste, but I don't know if you're going to get butterscotch out of that. I don't know. I wasn't convinced that it's doable. Maybe it requires some molecular gastronomy or something. All right, so I think that's good. All right, So let's go to the next one. Purple popsicle. When I wrote purple popsicle, I think I was really tired. So usually, because I'm doing a lot of things all at once, I usually time box this, and this class, like I do the class stuff late because I try to do all the important stuff earlier in the day. So sometimes it gets creative. And this is, so when I took this picture, this is what I wrote. And I might just keep that, because why not? Purple popsicles provide perfectly placed pleasure for people's taste buds. Um, and then I just wrote, popsicles are tasty and cooling. Too much sugar, but a treat nonetheless. Yeah, that was not super inspired, except for the insane amount of alliteration. Um, and this is not how you spell popsicle. Okay. Yeah. I mean, perfectly placed pleasure, because it's, on the tongue and talking about taste buds. I think I'll leave that at that. I don't have much more creatively to say about that. The fish sticks. Where are the fish sticks? Where did the fish sticks come in? Oh, that was under touch. I remember that. So the excuse me. The observation for the for the fish sticks was about eating with my hands, because in America we don't, I guess we eat with our hands a lot with the like fast food, but in general, unlike other countries, if you go to India, you're going to be eating with your hands more. There are a lot of places in Africa where the majority of your food is eaten with your hands. Um, and so my observation for this one was I ate with my hands today, fish and chips. I don't think I need to repeat with this. I forgot that playing with food can be an option, and that licking your fingers is a sign of that something is good. I think I'm going to stick with that. That was my first thought. I think I will stick with that thought. And then the final one, the marshmallows. So this was, again, a deep dive, because I love marshmallows. I think, like, texture-wise, sweet, like a pillow in your mouth. I mean, come on. It's really this. Yeah. I'm a big fan. I like homemade marshmallows too, even though they're not as puffy. Because they do, like, people who do marshmallows, they usually pick some really interesting, cool flavors. I've never tried to make them myself. Probably not going to. The name, like marsh, it's difficult and dark and mallow, like sounds like mellow out, but I don't even know what mallow means. But it turns out I picked marshmallow because it it comes up in my herbal studies, because marshmallow is actually a root that was used medicinally. And turns out, when I did the deep dive, ancient Egyptians used it. It's not, they would make what is known to be one of the first desserts known in history. It was an herb marshmallow root mixed with honey, and they boiled that, and it gave it a kind of a confectionery. And that they used to make a lot of marshmallows like that for a while, and they were making them with the root until like 1950 in the U.S. Okay, so then I talked about the marshmallow test. This is a total aside, but the marshmallow test is the idea, it's used for children to test impulsivity, So you put them in a chair in a room by themselves. Well, they're not by themselves at the beginning, and you tell them there's one marshmallow here, but if you don't eat the one marshmallow, I'm gonna give you 3 marshmallows, 5 marshmallows, whatever, more marshmallows when I come back. And so the test is, how impulsive is the kid? Do they want the marshmallow now, or can they wait and get more marshmallows later? Now, it's supposed to be a test of impulsivity, and maybe it is, but it also is kind of it makes me think a little bit of a game theory kind of thing. Like, if the rule, well, it's not really a game theory thing, but it's just maybe like what you value. Because, I mean, it is possible that someone could choose to value the experience of having the marshmallow and they don't need to have more. Like, more is not always better. The way they set up the test, it makes it seem like more is better. But, and this is, I guess a consumerism type thing. Like, more is not always better, and you can be content with one marshmallow, and that could be fine as well. I'm not sure that the kids who are eating one marshmallow, that's like their line of thinking. They're probably just more impulsive and they just want the marshmallow now. But I mean, I think when they discuss the marshmallow test, it is like this idea that, and it's a thing that runs through a lot of economics, this idea that more is equated to better. And it's including with money, especially when they're not even talking about double bottom lines, triple bottom lines. Um, and hence, when people are taught that, then you do get a society that values overconsumption and doesn't consider all the other potential factors that could be at play. Oh my gosh, I'm so just talking about economics right now. Probably because half my brain is where most people's brains are, in the weird legislation that just got passed. Okay, so I'm extracting myself from the economic discussion and going back to the marshmallows. So, the marshmallow one was kind of my like disappointment, because as much as I love marshmallows, this was my original kind of thought about the situation. That marshmallow tells a familiar story. Nature's healing plant is transformed into a man-made pleasure pillow. I don't know. It must have been late at night when I wrote that. That actually harms people's health. Due to the additives, marshmallows can last for years. I mean, it is true. I mean, the way that marshmallows are manufactured now, you couldn't make them without machines, like because they inject air into them. They kind of like pressurize them, and so it is. I don't know. I might leave that one, but that's a sad. Maybe I should write something, because that's not leaving on a joyous place. Nature's healing plant is transformed into a man-made pleasure pillow. That's ridiculous. And with the alliteration. Ugh. A man-made. Just go with confection. That actually doesn't have to harm people's health. Marshmallows can last for years because of the additives. As an herbalism apprentice, my I'm not sure what to say here. My love of marshmallows. My love of marshmallows current current manufactured as currently manufactured is morphing into an appreciation and potential love for the original. The flower is depicted below. Okay. I think we're just about there. Okay. Marshmallow tells a familiar story. Nature's healing plant is transformed into a man-made confection that actually can harm people's health. Marshmallows can last for years because of their additives. I don't think I need that sentence. Doesn't really add a lot. As an herbalism apprentice, in my current role as an herbalism apprentice, my love of marshmallows as currently manufactured is morphing into an appreciation and a potential love for the original. The marshmallow mallow flower is depicted before. It's a really pretty flower. Okay. Alright. So this is a little more, I don't know what the word is. It looks a little more like a document, but I think it gets the point across, and I think it does a better job of capturing the joy that I felt when I collected these items, and it's a much better representation. And yeah, okay, so that's that. We're done. I'm gonna turn it in tonight. It's 10 o'clock. That's my time box. All right, well, whoever's watching this, thanks, I guess, for watching, or I don't even know what to say. Yeah. Yeah, well, thanks. And I'm glad that it's finished, and I can't wait to get feedback. And I'm glad that this is more joyful. It feels much better.